Welcome to Driving Immersion. This is the immersive racing experience. Studio 397's Le Mans Ultimate is the best detailed simulation of the World Endurance Championship. This is a continuation of our full 24 hours of Le Mans series. We will be racing in Le Mans Ultimate using as much of its simulation factors to be as close to the racing as possible. We drive from the cockpit using a Fanatec CSL DD Plus wheel and load cell pedal set, without any assists except for what exists in the car. There are collisions and damage, tire wear and fuel use, including virtual energy. There's plenty of racing to come. Click on subscribe now so that you don't miss out on any of it. It's 4:15 a.m. here at the Circuit de l'Estart as we get ready for our 16th stint in this 24-hour race.
We are currently in first place.
And we are just putting on virtual energy and filling up with gas. We are going to go into the fourth stint with this set of tires.
Teammate and Toyota.
Mediums in the front, softs in the rear. And the worst tire is down to 28% life.
Morning. 8 seconds to go. Tires have cooled down. We are sitting here in the pits.
Tires down and we are rolling. So we got to see very briefly that there are 4 hypercars left in the field. 1 Toyota, 2 Alpines, and then the Toyota of Carl Bennett. The number 35 Alpine and the Toyota are 1 lap down.
On these tires. See if we can make them go a full 4. The mediums should be more durable than the softs. And if you remember, in the previous stint, the soft tires did not go a full 4. In fact, once they were reduced to 20% wear, they started to decline exponentially. And we actually had to come in, I believe it was lap 4 or 5 of that stint.
So again, we are attempting to go 4 stints on this set of tires. The mediums in the front this time. The softs didn't last very well after 20% life left. So we'll see how the mediums do.
Now we are showing minor damage on the HUD for the front end of the vehicle. The fenders are kind of crumpled. Again, it didn't require a fix.
Here we are looking at the Toyota again of Carl Bennett, doing pretty well here, many hours into the race.
No fuel savings on this stint.
So again, our goal is to stretch out these tires. We are not saving fuel. We do expect to come in early. The softs, we came in about 4 or 5 laps earlier than what we had planned and ended up having to refuel as well as change the tires. There's the number 8 as we come in through Arnage.
Rub on the wall and a lot of scrubbing here.
This segment of the 24 Hours of Le Mans was recorded just after the version 1.0 release of Le Mans Ultimate, and it was very difficult, and we had to redo the race, or this segment, a couple of times just because the video had started stuttering, even though it was playing at between 70 and 90 frames per second. Especially here as we drive through the grandstands and the pit straight. And a lot of times that is because there's a lot of requirements on the graphics engine and the graphics card.
Oh, very late brake. It's not enough.
So we have to restart the system a few times just to try to find a resolution to that problem. And eventually we had to reduce the amount of detail on the track. And it kind of helped improve the frame rate a little bit. Again, the graphics card...
No, it would have cost us 24 seconds to change the tires. And right now we are ahead of second place by 94 seconds.
Yeah, so the graphics card was still showing between 70 and 90 frames per second. However, the game was not playing at that speed, and the replay speed was even worse, down to 14 frames.
So we would have only been ahead by 70 seconds when we came out. So we are going to take that to measure if we should have changed the tires or not. Of course, this all works out if we are able to complete the 12 laps on this tire.
So we decided there was something either very wrong with the system, like the graphics engine for Le Mans Ultimate, or our hardware, which is the processor and the video card. No changes were made before version 1.0 release. So we had to try to resolve the problem. Again, we did that by reducing the amount of detail around the track. Here at night, not really necessary, but I didn't think that the graphics engine of the game would require so much power just to render a black sky. Here we are watching the Alpine, and this is the number 36. That is Nicolas Lapierre, currently in second place, about a half a lap behind the number 8 here as we drive through.
Again, to Indianapolis. Very gentle on the right-hand turns, as it will put a lot of wear on the left front, and this might be braking. Now.
Again, watching the Sota of Carl Bennett. If you are just joining the race and have not seen the previous segments, 1 through 15. There are 4 hypercars left, and we have noticed that there may be something with the race engine of Le Mans Ultimate, something wrong, and is that a lot of the cars have seemingly run out of fuel. Of course, you can't see damage on these cars, so we can't count on the damage to have terminated the race, but they have been running out of fuel just coming out of the Porsche S's, and perhaps 300 or 500 meters or yards away from the pit entrance. So we are left to imagine that they had run out of fuel. So we are watching the cars here like this, the Sota, to see if they come in probably the last 6 to 10 segments or stints. They have been coming in while we are on our lap 3 to 5 after our pit stop, so we do expect them to come in. And right now we are watching Carl Bennett to see if he will come in. Right now Le Mans Ultimate does not indicate in any way how the other cars have failed or expired.
This car is 13 seconds ahead. It is one of the GP3s. So we've got a very clear track to race on. But again, it is 4 a.m.
So I think that would be a good addition to the game perhaps a message or a note, even a text on the screen to say how the other cars have left the race. It's done somewhat in the F1 games.
There is a little rubbing of his tires.
But it would surely complete the immersion here, knowing what happened to the other cars as they leave the race, especially when you have 4 cars left out of a 24-hour race. And we are only just halfway through. There is the Alpine, and we are waiting to find out which one it is. I believe that is the number 36, and that is Nicolas Lapierre, the car in second place, so he is filling up with fuel.
And Lapierre is in the pits.
And very early in the race, both Alpines would come in together, or nose to tail, to refuel. So now we have to keep an eye on the number 35 as well.
Yeah, try to put him a lap down. So now with the new leaderboard display, we are able to see how much virtual energy the other cars have. I think it would have been helpful if it was working that way at the beginning of this race here at Le Mans. We would have been able to tell whose car was stretching their stints and possibly calculated who actually ran out of fuel, because a lot of cars have retired from running out of fuel during their stint.
Yes, that is a new leaderboard that you see there on the upper left as a part of version 1.0. However, it still does not work in replay mode, so this game does not save the data in any way.
Slow laps.
Again, very useless in replay mode, which is the second track that we splice in.
There's 35 Alpine down to 8%, so he should be coming in this lap or the next lap. Well, I think it would be this lap. He doesn't want to run out.
So for now, the leaderboard that you see here on the left is being displayed through the replay so that we can view the other cars as we are racing around. This is the number 36 of Nicolas Lapierre. And that will be Indianapolis.
23% now. Like it was a very long stop there for the Alpine.
So for preference, we'd rather have the clear screen here, or a clean screen while we are driving. However, some of the information,
had repairs done.
For example, the tires and the fuel are better in detail than what we can find on the steering wheel. So we do choose to have that pop up.
But it looks like it'll be 70 or 80 seconds for the stop.
But again, from behind the wheel and the cockpit, it's better to have a clean screen. But honestly, this overlay here on the left, which is the leaderboard, here is the number 35 coming in to refuel. Good for him, he will continue on. And again, now we have to watch the Isota to make sure that he comes in.
Still pretty good wear, but again, the left front is of concern.
So we're left a little bit disappointed with the update in version 1.0. I think Studio 397 was patting themselves on the back for a very good job done, but there are still a lot of things missing in this game.
And the Isota is at 9%. If he's stopping in, okay. The 35 is in the pit, getting a recharge.
So that is our beef for now. Back to the number 35 in the pits. Still a little bit choppy on the frame rate here. Again, this is before we applied the reduction in graphics fidelity or track fidelity. It is nighttime, so we don't expect that it would be going very hard.
Spinning on those tires.
Back to the track is the number 35. And now we are waiting for the Isota to come in. Quick look from behind the number 8.
On the soft.
And that was a minor spin in front of the Dunlop Bridge. Again, our tires are very worn at this point. 22% now on the front left, 27 in the front.
Very difficult to remember what made us go spin around, but maybe we were just going too fast. 12 hours left. 12 hours left in the race.
And this is lap 190 of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. An expected 378.
3% left in the Isota.
A little far from the record of 397. Considering we've had no weather at all.
Left. Where is he at on the track?
Back to Carl Bennett as he exits Arnage. And now we are waiting for him as he is closing the lap. See if he can come into the pits to refuel. Again, running out of fuel has been the determining factor here for a lot of the cars
on the Isota
for their retirements.
And he is not in the pits.
We're also watching him from the car as we drive around the lap. And here comes the entrance to the pits. A little bit on the grass. Oh, a little squirrely. Nope, nope.
And this is lap 190.
He has stopped on the grass. Again, no smoke, no visual damage. Just seemingly started driving on the grass, and I believe he may be out of fuel at this point. From the cockpit, you don't hear the motor running. He is out of fuel, and this is going to end the race for him. As if you run out of fuel, there is no way to get back into the pits. You can see here that there is no damage to the car. He is done.
Okay, the Isota is out. That is now the most recent retirement. So 3 hypercars left in the field. 2 Alpines and 1 Toyota.
So now, according to the standings, the Isota is a DNF. Carl Bennett out of the race here with just 12 hours to go. That leaves 3 cars, 1 Toyota and 2 Alpines.
Okay, so in 4 laps we lost about 8% on the left front.
So if you're wondering how Le Mans Ultimate will create attrition on the race, it is through running out of fuel. So there were 22 hypercars starting the race. Now there are 3. We can easily say that most of those have been running out of fuel. Again, just exiting the Porsche S's, and right before the pit entrance, a lot of cars have expired and left the race. There was one car that we know of that left the race. Actually 2. The number 83 Ferrari very early on lap 2 spun out just before the Dunlop Bridge. And then our teammate,
20% now.
Those 2 retirements didn't happen in that segment of the track, so it's not likely that they were caused by running out of fuel. But most of the hypercar retirements have been running out of fuel. And we do have damage activated, so you would think that some of the cars would retire as a result of damage or some kind of mechanical failure as a result of collision or going off the track. But none of that has been displayed as we watch the cars expire. And perhaps this may not occur if you just play 2 or 3 hour games, but again, this race is 24 hours.
So in order to do another 7 laps here, our left front tire wear is going to be going down to about 6 or 7%. So 14 or 13% at that time, and we'll see how we do. That is kind of our calculation right now. Yeah, these mediums are lasting about as long as the softs.
So that is the other thing we are testing here with the Le Mans Ultimate game engine is wear and tear, and that is applied to the tires. The brakes also have wear and tear, but here at 12 hours they are just about 99% all around, and we can see that again when we come into the pits at the end of the stint. But the tires between the softs and the mediums, they have both been wearing just about equally. We were able to go 4 stints on the softs, but very...
We are losing time here, but that's a lot of time to spare.
But the softs were very poor at the very end, and we did take a set of the softs to 0%, and they just had no grip whatsoever. Thankfully, there was only one tire that reached 0. One other tire reached below 5% or below 10%, and again, very little grip. And we can see here now that the medium in the front left is down to 20, and it's still drivable, and that's basically the big difference between the
still 20%
softs
left
and mediums.
in the left front. But now the wear indicator is on.
So they just about wear nearly the same, but the softs again will fall off quite considerably after 20%. And the more you skid or lock up on the softs, the faster they wear. But here you can see the medium is doing pretty well, and we'll see that until the end of the stint. Again, hopefully we can take this set of tires another 12 laps on this stint. And later on in the race, we are planning to put on the hard tires to see if they will last 4 stints. But we won't be doing that until the sun comes out and daylight begins. Right now the track is very cold. I believe it's down to 63 or 62 degrees. And the hard tires just will not be very good. But right now, 12 hours into this race, the car mechanically is doing very well. There have been nothing to wear and tear except for the brake discs again, because that's only down 1%. So we're still at 99%.
Keep an eye on the rear as well. They are now 23 and 25.
Here is the second chicane in the Mulsanne Straight. Having a look at the standings on the left, you can see there are 14 LMP2 cars left in the field.
I've got 40 tires left.
And the leaderboard that you see here on the left is done by SimHub. And it is recorded data by SimHub. And I think if SimHub can record data, LMU should be able to record data to replay during the replay. Again, not a programmer here, but something that needs to be fixed. It definitely can be done, and if it's done by a third party, so again, as we watch the number 8 lapping, you can see that there are a little bit of evidence that the gameplay is flickering or stuttering.
Again, so we got 1 lap, only 1% of wear. On that last lap.
So again, there is stuttering in the gameplay here, and not just in the replay. And that was the result of version 1.0. So right now, as we are heading down the Mulsanne Straight, once again, we are counting the percentage at which the front left is wearing out. It's got 18% life left. And we were able to save or reduce the wear by 1% on the lap. So if we can only reduce it by 1% each lap.
Rear. That's about 2 laps.
We are on lap 7.
So right now the top tires are doing better than the mediums.
Of a projected 12 lap stint. So we should be able to make it and finish this stint before we reach 10% life on the front left. And again, that is the critical tire right now. Actually, for the 24 hours here, that has been, the front left has been the critical tire, the determining factor when we come in and change out tires. We've had no flats. And I don't know if flats are a thing or available here in Le Mans Ultimate. But flats do happen in the real race. It would be nice if it could be added here to the immersion in Le Mans Ultimate. We have been working with the damage levels here outside of this race, and right now there is a new damage level, and it's called realistic, I believe. And what happens is that anytime you touch something, there's suddenly damage. Very easy to damage the suspension, indicated by A arms on the HUD, in which case the steering will be skewed. You'll have to come in, but once that happens, you would expect that there would be additional tire wear, but there's not. You can feel the car pulling only just a little bit, but not a lot, considering how much damage it is. So still a lot of work to do with damage, which is a factor here in going 24 hours on an endurance race.
There's probably about 500, maybe 800 meters shorter here to usually make it under the bridge. Oh, not watching where we're going.
Yeah, so we're kind of looking at the data on the HUD on the lower left. Again, 17% now on the front left, and that is pretty close to about 1% per lap. So we're doing very well to maintain that tire. So among the other things that this game needs attention is head tracking. Now, virtual reality is available now for Le Mans Ultimate. It wasn't at first when it was first launched as a game in development, but virtual reality has been available now for at least 3 or 4 months here into 2025 in Le Mans Ultimate. But the head tracking or track IR support has not been addressed, which absolutely adds immersion from driving behind the wheel. If you drive in the cockpit, it's certainly an immersive addition to the game. We use it very successfully in R Factor 2 as well as F1.
They're starting to brake now.
Right now, behind the cockpit, we would be able to look left and right, up and down, and the view here, the POV in the game, would be moving around with your head as well. There are some games that use the eyes to move the POV around, but Track IR has a camera and either an LED light or a reflector set that moves the POV around. Again, it does help to simulate driving behind the wheel, as you're able to look around inside the cockpit and outside the vehicle. But right now, although very well implemented in R Factor 2 and in F1 by EA Sports, nothing available here for Le Mans Ultimate.
Several laps of saving. Where we are, 135. We lost about 20 seconds to Nicholas here. Something seconds. Yeah, that would have been the cost for our tire change. So it is conclusive. At least for the stint, we did not save any time by staying with an old set of tires. However, it may still be the right decision by the end of the race.
Yeah, so as far as tires are concerned, it's easier to just change them out if you've got worn tires than to continue on. It will only cost you about 12 to 16 seconds for a new set. But if you do lap around for a couple of stints, just trying to save the tires, you'll certainly burn more time than that. Unfortunately here, we have a limit on the number of tires that we have available for the race. Before we started this race here at Le Mans, we did change from 60 sets or 60 tires up to 64. Again, we didn't know how long they were going to last. But you do have a choice to change the number of tires you have available. In real life, you don't. You have a limit.
3 laps left in this stint. We are down to 16% on the left front.
Yes, you have a limit on the tires that you have for the weekend and for the race. So there we got a quick look from the NVIDIA display settings. Our frame rate is down to about 45 or 46. Again, it will dip down without explanation or reason. It is dark out, so there's very little to render. Should be no reason that it would dip down that low. Quick look on the map on the upper right, you can see here that as we come around to enter Indianapolis, the number 3 or the third place car, number 35 Alpine, is just crossing the start finish line.
Not enough brake, and we are off gravel.
Yes, off into the gravel for the number 8. As we are trying to conserve this set of tires, we've got 3 more laps to do.
So we've actually brought up the preservation of the left front by quite a bit.
And that time around, we just tried to avoid putting on too much brake to prevent skidding or locking up. And you can see there that we wound up in the gravel. Fortunately, there have been a lot of retirements, another complaint here for LMU, so that we don't really have to worry about time and racing. The nearest car, you can see there in the standings that the second place Alpine is 126 seconds behind.
Back end wanting to come around again.
That difference in time can mean that we can come in twice to the pits and still come out ahead.
And we're still pretty good, but 1 lap for each percentage point.
There are only 3 cars that we have to race now until the end of the race.
125 now to the Alpine. Still a lot of time.
And I'm sure many are wondering, why do we continue on with this race as there are only 3 cars left? Well, the reason is that we are testing the LMU game system here.
We may do a hard tire, and now those are for when the sun comes back up. I'm gonna stay with this kind of setup here.
So again, as we continue on with this race, we are going to take a close look at the LMP game system. We are looking how it implements tire wear, fuel use, damage, and certainly attrition, as well as implementing the other cars on the field, the other classes, the LMP2s and the GT3s. So right now the LMP2s have, I believe, 12 and 14 cars left in the field. There are still quite a lot of...
We're get close here with the virtual energy. 3 tires now in the wear limits.
There's still a lot of GT3s. Unfortunately, there's no way to look at them from behind the wheel here on the number 8. And if we use the leaderboard through the replay mode, we cannot see the timing between the GT3s and LMP2s if there were still a lot of
2 laps left to go in the stint.
hypercars in the field.
Again, if we are able to successfully limit our wear, that left front should be down to 13 at the end of the stint. And right now it's actually not doing too bad. Still showing a lot of grip. Meanwhile, the other tires have really started to degrade. Now on the number 35. I'm sorry, this is the number 36.
So a quick look on the lower left of your screen, you can see the tire wear now. All tires are below 20%. The soft tires in the rear are degrading very quickly and very close to the wear on the front left, which is a medium tire. Right front is also medium.
A lot of wear on the last couple of laps.
So 14% is the furthest we've gone on a set of mediums, and we are going to see how they continue to drive on.
Now we start the start-finish line.
At this point, we only have 2 laps to go. This one being...
Yes, we are.
Nope, 1 lap to go. So we should be able to finish this stint on this set of tires before they go down below 10%.
So we are good on the virtual energy. And we are good on the fuel. And there we go, 14% on the left front. The 13 was our projected. So the rear tires here and the right front not that important. However, the left rear is down to 16, in which it will become critical pretty soon. But again, they will be coming off. And you can see there that the mediums are actually able to run full. At this time of the night.
Yeah, so we have 21 pounds of air pressure in the tires all around. The mediums at that rate will
There we are,
remain
13%.
cool, so we
Don't care too much about
could probably reduce that
access square now.
air pressure.
Just gonna make it through the S's here without crashing or falling off the track.
Just to keep them warm. But again, this is going to be as cold as it gets through this 24-hour race.
Again, good on fuel, good on virtual energy.
So we will keep them at 21 next time we put on a new set of mediums.
Actually, we have 3.8%. Tires 13, 18, 15, and 18.
Here we are back into the pits with the number 8. And this time around we're going to change tires and refuel. No damage on the vehicle.
Out of
Only 3 cars left in the
mediums
hypercar
and
class.
and
But we are going to continue on here with 24 hours.
From being totally depleted.
I think it's going to be daylight pretty soon, as it should be about 5 o'clock right now. So we want to see how that's implemented, along with the temperature changes when the sun comes out. And we'd like to see how the weather is going to be. You can see here that it is cloudy, and then it's going to be sunny, and so on. So we'd like to see how all of that is going to be implemented. And if you made it this far into this segment, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to see how this race ends.
There are 3 hypercars left. Yeah.
There's still quite a lot of time left, but there are only 3 cars in the hyperclass field. It may end up that we are racing with the LMP2s in this race. So that's something to see here at Le Mans Ultimate in this 24-hour race series. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.